on my microphone. Call the meeting to order. This is a regular council meeting for Thursday, October 6, 2016. It's 5:30, and we're ready to go. We'd like to have the Pledge of Allegiance first. If you'd stand, remove your hats. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Beth.
Mr. Draper.
Here.
Ms. Etzel.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Spinks.
Present.
Mayor Abowassili. Mr. Brandt. Mr. Sternad.
Present.
Ms. Pazor.
Here.
You threw me there. We'd like to pause for a minute for a moment of silence, if you would do so. Thank you. We have a couple of 3 public hearings tonight, so be mindful of that. Otherwise, let's see, is there citizens that want to make a presentation that is something that is not on the calendar tonight? So if you have something to bring up, come up and state your name. Yes, sir, come on up. State your name and address, and let's hear what you have to say.
I'm Larry Smith, 1890 7th Avenue, Marion. I'd like to address the crosswalk that's half a block west of the intersection of 19th Street and 7th Avenue in Marion. Earlier this spring, there was an oversized truck that went through that section and tore down the crosswalk lights. And since then, they've not been replaced, and I have a business right there, and I constantly see kids run across the street, near misses from cars. There was a couple today that were probably, I would say, 60s, 70s. They got stuck in the middle of the highway and couldn't get across. There's really no way to cross that 7th Avenue between 13th and 31st Street without a light. So people just kind of run across there and hope they don't get hit. And I'm just wondering why that light is still down after this many months. It's been at least 6 months.
Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone know what the status of the lights? Ryan's not here.
I know that Ryan had stated at a previous meeting that they were considering whether there was an actual need for it or not. Obviously, there's at least a perception that there is. Eventually, when all the traffic goes to 6th Avenue, the traffic there on 7th will be a lot lighter, but that doesn't solve the problem for the next couple months. I don't know, maybe we can pass that on to Ryan.
Yeah.
He's the one kind of looking at it.
Public Works fellow, the empty spot there is the guy that would really be the one to answer.
I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know. It almost seems like somebody's waiting until somebody gets hit. I mean, this has been going on for 6 months. I don't understand why it would take that long to get a string of lights put back up and that crosswalk usable again for our children and our
Dan, do you know if it
residents.
was damaged? Or?
Yeah, my understanding is we pretty much lost the facility completely, so it would be, I'm guessing, a $40,000 to $60,000 investment, but I'm just guessing there.
Yeah, I believe it damaged the foundations. Why don't we ask when Ryan is back, we'll have him do a full briefing for the council on it and bring you up to speed. And then we can have him also send Larry a letter or let you know when it's going to be on the agenda.
Okay, yeah, because a person's life is not worth $60,000. I mean, it's worth a lot more than that. So that's a cheap price.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Something? Yes. Name and address, even though we probably know where you live.
Cole Norton, Marion Airport. I'm just letting you know we are having an event on October 29th from noon to 2. It's a trunk or treat, so except there won't be any trunks because it'll be airplanes. and we're going to hand out candy. We did it last year, and it was about 300 people plus 300 RSVPs, and then plus however many kids they had with them. It'll probably be a little bit bigger this year, but not as big as the fly-in, and should be fun. So that's all.
And that's October the 29th. What time does it start?
Correct, at noon.
At noon.
Mhm.
Okay.
I know fire department will be there, St. Luke's medical helicopter, Tidbits, just some various groups.
So will the fire department have practice on the drones with their hoses?
No.
That'd be a good practice for you guys. Okay, thank you, Cole. Anyone else? Something that's not on the calendar tonight? Very well. Is there something on the consent calendar to be pulled?
I've spoken to Councilmember Etzel about this. Number 15, I would like removed.
Okay, anyone else? Anything else? Okay, Council Etzel.
Motion to approve consent calendar as presented. Numbers 1 through 14, 16 through 22, resolutions number 25595 through 25606, and 25608 to 25611, removing number 15, resolution number 25607.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Discussion on these. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Now, number 15. Do you want to read that, Mary Lou, or?
I can. Or
I can.
It's yours.
Number 15 is resolution number 25607, approving contract with Iowa Department of Transportation regarding the Marion Airport Grant Award for the Runway 1735 Reconstruction Design Project in an amount of $63,750.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion.
Yes, Your Honor. I have a statement I would like to make. After reading the city manager's memo to the council with reference to the airport, the difference in the amount paid to Jan Walton at $1,355,500 and what the city paid Luxair at $1,670,000 is a difference of $314,500. The assessed valuation of the city's purchase was $473,000 for the airstrip and the FBO building. The assessed valuation of Luxair's portion was $687,000. Considering that 5 minutes and 30 seconds separated the two transactions, it appears to have been an amazing increase in property values. If this is the action of a public-private partnership, perhaps this partnership should be examined.
So does that have anything to do with this?
Well, yeah, because it's a partnership between the private and public, insofar as this is what the city's doing 85% and Luxair is doing 15%. So yes, it does.
But this is particularly for a grant that reimbursement from the money that was given for the airport gas tax. Is that true?
Much like the road use tax for vehicles, the state collects tax on the sale of aviation fuel, and it goes into a protected fund, which then is given to the DOT, and the DOT accepts grant applications across the state from that. This is an application that was submitted earlier this year and would be used for the design for the reconstruction of the existing north-south runway, expanding the width out to 75 feet and taking it out to a 3,775 foot length, and then also correcting some of the existing hills that they refer to as undulations in the runway to make it more attractive and build up the structural capacity of it so that it would hold heavier airplanes.
Okay,
Basically, the only reason I brought this up is because it is the only item on the agenda that has to do with the airport.
okay. That's something maybe you'd bring up at the end in the comments.
I may not be here at the end.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
So, to approve the grant,
Call the question, Your Honor.
yeah, also to approve the grant for Resolution 25607, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll start off with a public hearing. This is a public hearing on the FY16 and 17 budget amendment. Does anyone in the audience want to speak for this? Anyone in the audience want to speak against the budget amendment? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. For the second one, I think we want to table this till we have the full council here to approve the budget. So I want to table item 2 for now, for resolution 25612. I want to table that till we'll have full council to hear this. So.
Okay, Your Honor, I move to table resolution 295-612, approving the fiscal year 16-17 budget amendment.
Is there a second? Okay, discussion on the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Draper.
Yes, Your Honor. Ordinance number 16-11, amending the Code 105 of the Solid Waste Ordinance and establishing a base monthly collection fee of $14.25 and eliminating the reduced monthly fees, the final consideration.
Second.
Motion is read and seconded. Discussion?
Your Honor, I'm still against this because I really think that elderly people really deserve something, and we've survived this long.
I do too. I mean,
But I also don't want to see the state come back and say, well, you owe X number of dollars because you didn't pay this full amount, and suddenly end up with a big bill. So this is the only reason I'll go along with it.
Has any of you written a letter to any of the state officials? I sent a note to a couple.
Mr. Reisner's going to check on that a little bit.
Yeah, okay, good. So, any other comments on this ordinance 1611? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
I'm sorry, I have a policy, I don't vote on anything that helps the dump.
Okay. Councilwoman
Well, you
Edsel.
ask, and
Councilwoman Edsel, moving right along.
Your Honor, this is resolution number 25613, approving support for Trees Forever Woodlands Symposium in the amount of $7,500.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Yeah, I would just note that with the presentation on Tuesday, the request that Director Ramsey made was for $10,000. That's the top tier sponsorship level. When we did the resolution, this was the amount that was budgeted. So if the council wanted to increase or decrease that, you would just simply need to make a motion to amend the resolution. We just put it in there, like I said, at the budgeted amount.
Anyone interested in?
I want to just leave it.
Okay. Is that the feeling of council?
Now, I wasn't here for that part. What was their request? Did they have a monetary request?
They requested $10,000.
He said we should match what Cedar Rapids
These
is
are the
giving.
two. This was the limit, and this is where we came in last year. So it's in between, but this is what the budget, this is what we had allocated for the budget.
Okay, so basically it is $2,500 more than last year's.
Correct.
Right. That's what they asked for.
No, they asked for 10.
No, they asked for 10, and what they gave last year, or what they got last year was 5.
Right. So we've upped it, but not to where they were asking.
Abden.
I would be in favor of what the budget allowed, for the record.
To leave it alone, to leave it where it is?
Correct.
That's what I'm hearing from, I see Ed's not on this side, to leave it alone. So,
I think we outweigh them.
should I move over here? No.
It's a left-wing thing.
Anyway, any other discussion on Resolution 25613? Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Finn.
Mr. Honor, I have resolution number 25614, authorizing condemnation of certain real property for the Armor. One moment. I'm going to have to, I got to abstain from this one.
Oh, okay. Your Honor, I will replace Councilmember Sternad since he cannot, he will have to abstain on this.
Oh, you got to abstain from that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, thank
Go
you,
ahead
sorry.
then. Yeah.
Okay, I move to approve Resolution 25614, authorizing condemnation of certain real property for the Armour Drive project, north 1/2 of the north 1/4 of the north 1/4, Section 12, Township 83 North, Range 7, west of the 5th EM. And this is Lynn County, Iowa, and this is the Roush property.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Discussion on this. Can you give us a little brief on this, since it's
You want me to
order
field that
of
one, Dan?
order?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. We actually have been attempting to acquire this property voluntarily for more than 6 years to extend Armour Drive up to Highway 100. We actually, when we put the signals in back in 2010, they're there, they're ready for this extension. We've exhausted all opportunities to try to do a voluntary acquisition, and the condemnation attorney wants the council to adopt this resolution. That will move it towards condemnation, and he'll move down to the final step. We've had an appraisal done on the property. They've had an appraisal done on the property. The two are a substantial distance apart. Negotiations to try to bridge that gap haven't gotten anywhere, so we're recommending approval of the resolution so that we can move it to the condemnation board, and the condemnation board will then decide what just compensation is, and we can move forward with the purchase.
Okay, is that clear? Any other discussion on it then from council? Okay, for Resolution 25614, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? And you have one
One
abstention.
abstention, please.
Tom, I think engineering has set the bar higher for a confusing. So you've got to come up with something to beat that. Okay, another public hearing. This is a public hearing regarding the vacation and sale of the north 130 feet of the north-south alley bounded by 8th and 9th Street and south of 6th Avenue, Block 26, original town in Marion, Lynn County, Iowa, Perry Development Partners.
Second?
No.
Yeah, what am I thinking? I'm not paying attention. Sorry.
Anyone in the audience want to speak for this vacation? Anyone in the audience want to speak against the vacation and sale? Not hearing any. I'll close the public hearing. Mr. Draper.
Yes, Your Honor. Resolution 25615, approving the vacation of the sale of the north 130 feet of the north-south alley bounded by 8th and 9th Street, south of 6th Avenue, Block 26, original town of Marion, Lynn County, Iowa, Perry Development Partners.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
If this is going to help alleviate the parking, which will end up on 6th Avenue, then I'm definitely for it. I still think that it would be wise to consider providing parking off-street, since that is directly east of the roundabout, which will put traffic on 6th Avenue, and I think there's going to be a lot of action from the police department. Just my opinion.
On 6th Avenue? Come out on 6th Avenue.
I'm sorry?
On 6th Avenue, action on 6th
Oh,
Avenue.
yeah, like for the police department to investigate. Over $500 damage. It is the limit, isn't it?
Any other discussions on this?
1,500? Oh, geez.
It's going to be a really nice development, I think. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that if they still plan, Tom, to retain the 3 dwellings. Is that?
Everything thus far is suggesting that, and you guys will see the plans before anything's constructed. So yeah, we're kind of excited for that project to come to fruition. I would point out on Tuesday there was some question on the alley vacation, the east-west alley vacation, and I did find out that was vacated in about 18-something, so it's been vacated a while. But there's been intermittent sales of individual pieces, so some of it's sold, some of it's not. There was a desire by Perry Development to go forward and vacate and sell this piece, and Dave is going to be following up with adjacent property owners to kind of clean up some of the boundaries and stuff. But this is typical of lately what we've been doing when we do alley vacations, we like to sell all of a portion of an alley at one, vacate and sell the portion so that there's no remnant pieces. That wasn't the policy for a long time, so that's why there's some remnant pieces in there. So we're going to do our best to clean that up, work with property owners.
We're going to the south side then of the east-west vacated previously alley with the one running north and south.
We are, yes.
You
Yep.
had it on the map there.
Yep. And then I think the west portion of that block, it was never sold. So it was vacated but not sold. And the east side, I think, was sold, or the other way around. Either way, we're trying to clean it all up, and hopefully that'll be accomplished with.
Mr. Hoskins would tell you that we've maintained that as well as we have any other alleys since 1840.
I want to know why when you said 1,800, you looked at me.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, any other discussion on 25615? Okay, all those in favor of Resolution 25615 signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Our next public hearing is a public hearing regarding the vacation of the west 120 feet of the east-west alley bounded by 7th and 8th Avenues and 11th and 12th Street, Block 14, original town of Marion, Iowa, Lynn County. This is a request from Ramses.
Conrad.
Is there anyone in the audience who want to speak for this vacation? Did you want, yeah, come on up and give your name and address.
Luann Ramsey, Ramsey's Metro Market Wine Bistro. My personal address, 2835 26th Avenue, Marion. I'm here on Conrad's behalf. He's out of town right now. Our desire is to have that portion of the alley vacated so that we can, in turn, use it as a patio during the summer, to also be part of the beautification of the alley works on the next block between 10th and 11th there. And so encouraging customers to be able to use the back entrance, especially as we move forward with the construction on 7th.
Okay. Any questions for Mrs. Ramsey? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any others speaking for this public hearing? Okay. Anyone against this, please come forward. I don't see anyone coming. So I'll close the public hearing. And Ms. Edsel.
Yes, this is resolution number 25616, approving the vacation of the west 120 feet of the east-west alley bounded by 7th and 8th Avenues and 11th and 12th Streets, Block 14, Original Town, Marion, Lynn County, Iowa. Ramsey.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Yes,
from
Your
council.
Honor. I have a question. We asked a while back, Donald, if the outside the front door and on 7th Avenue, and was rent being paid for that or whatever, and you said you really couldn't determine because the lot lines were skewed because of the sidewalk having been redone and all this. Now, is there going to be rental paid on this in the alley, or are they going to assume taxes, or what?
That would be up to you folks.
Passed the buck, didn't you?
No? All decisions belong up there.
Okay.
What is our current policy?
The what?
What is our current policy?
There isn't any, because there hasn't been any business of this nature.
On the front side, though.
Yeah, there's the business already.
We would use some time ago, I'll be brief. Some time ago, when Campbell Steel Gallery was the first person, we passed it as an encroachment agreement. And then we put a renewal date on that, and I think we did it every year.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there was a time where it lapsed, where we didn't go to them and they didn't come to us, and it was maintained in the area. Since that time, and because there were questions on that one in particular, folks came to the council and said there were issues with it. We did institute a policy, and there is an encroachment. I forget what it's called, Lon. I don't know if you recall.
There's a permitting process for it.
Yes, there you go. And so there is a process that a person goes through to get it. They have to show insurance, provide a layout, and so we do have a process now in place to do so. And we would institute that in the spring with the and I think we would probably go back and just do it to all of them and put them on the same schedule, because I don't know that I don't know right offhand if there was a specific time frame for the ones that are in existence, but I'm fairly certain there was.
Sounds good.
I can't recall if there were fees.
Tom pointed out Tuesday night, the important thing in the difference of these two vacations is the first one has "and sale."
Correct.
This one we are vacating, we are not selling the alleyway.
Fine.
So at some point in time, if Art in the Alley were to expand another block, Ramsey's will just have to kind of work around whatever we do in that block then, because we are retaining the property. We're just vacating it, so they
That's a
might
good
use
point.
it.
Well, when this all came up to begin with, I talked to the fire chief and said, now, is this going to be used as a route to, because of the fire that had been at, it had been Balsters, but before, and how was that knocked down and the whole thing? And she said you couldn't get through that far in that alley, so they would not be using it for a fire route.
No.
So.
Okay, good discussion. Any others on this? All right. All those in favor of Resolution 25616 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Stenad.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 16-13, amending the Marion Code of Ordinances to rezone property located west of Alburnett Road and north of Heather Court from Lynn County A to R-2, median density, single family, PDR, planned development, residential, and A1, rural restricted. This will be the James S. Lewis Revocable Trust and Diane H. Lewis Revocable Trust. Second consideration.
Second.
Moved and seconded. You want to give a brief history on this, Tom?
Yes, this is the scenic development project on the west side of Alburnett Road, north of East Robbins, and it includes the PDR piece would be Terrace Glen, Terrace Glen Village Plan, which is the senior housing, and then some assisted care areas. And then there's the A1 is is the land north of and including the Downing property will be in line with Tower Terrace Road, and then the R2 is a portion of the property that's preliminary platted for single family, the extension of Kettering Drive. So.
Okay. Is that clear to everyone? Any questions from council?
If I can just say something quickly.
Yes, go ahead.
Mayor. So the next item, just for clarification, is a motion to receive and file the third reading. Certainly able to proceed with receiving and filing that. Generally, it's required by code that we have a 3/4 vote to waive that third reading. In light of that, 7, 8, and 9 would not be able to be approved tonight until that third reading is provided. I spoke with Mr. Brandt, who was going to try and be here this evening, but it doesn't look like he's going to make it for that vote. So I know the developers in the audience, and we'll just have to push those to the next meeting. So I guess if this gets approved, I would just go to you can go to 6, but then after that, number 10.
So basically, number 6 would be just approving the second reading as opposed to doing a...
Yeah, the motion on the table would be for the ordinance. The next item is to receive and file the waiver, but we wouldn't be able to proceed with it. So you can either read number 6 and approve it. We just can't provide for the waiver tonight. So.
Well,
Tom, did Mr. Brand indicate he wasn't going to be able to make it at all, or that he's just running? Because otherwise we could reorder the agenda and act on the other items first to give him a little more time and hold these off until the end.
We can do that if there's a desire. So if we can move to 10 and then we can come back to this at the end if that would work.
That sounds good to me. Let's try to see if Will gets here. And
yeah, if it means 15 minutes or something, he might be able to make it.
Everything. Let's try to accommodate him. That's a long trip from Kansas City.
So, Your Honor, I will go ahead and make a motion then to reorder the agenda.
We got to do 5 first. We got to vote on 5. So, any other questions on the ordinance 16-13?
They're missing one.
All those in favor of 16-13 signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. So now, Mr. Stinan.
You want to do it now? Okay.
Sure. Yep. Your Honor, I would make a motion that we change up our agenda, moving. Would it be just number 6 then of the agenda, Tom?
6,
7, 8, 9.
6 through 9 to be reconsidered towards the end of the agenda.
Okay. Is that everyone good with council?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 10,
Yes,
ma'am.
Your Honor, this is motion directing staff to proceed with the acquisition of property located in the block between 14th and 15th Street and 5th and 6th Avenue related to Central Corridor Project.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion on this.
Yes, Your Honor. Those are railroad houses you're messing with, and I think that perhaps this should be turned over to the Historic Preservation Group to make a recommendation. But the basic problem I have is acquisition by the city of this property, because I don't think the city should be in the realty business.
If I understand right, that we were asked, I think the people that were here Tuesday were asking if we would buy them. Is that correct?
Well, I was talking to my friend Reggie, who moved out of state, and she said, well, if I'd known this was going to go on, I'd have asked the city to buy my house. So I think it's not a good procedure.
But there's only one, isn't only one of the homes a railroad home?
No, they're all 3.
Well, it's an interesting question. The one that we own on the corner is a railroad home, and that one's one of them that could be reviewed. But if we don't own them, we won't have the ability to do that, and they'll likely fall into development hands, which is fine. But the one next to the railroad home, we wouldn't have any control over that in the event that there is a desire to save it, because it'll probably be purchased by somebody else for development. The remaining properties, and I would contend, is a little bit different than what you're saying. I understand we shouldn't be buying properties just for anybody that is having difficulty selling. I think the question becomes, is the impact of the project on the ability to sell the property going to be going to hurt them? And we're talking about starting the project in the spring, and so we have to determine what to do with that railroad house, which is directly adjacent. It's like if you drive by, they're within about 10 feet of each other. So that lot will be graded, the road will be put there, the whole backside of the home that's for sale would be graded, as well as all the way north to 6th Avenue as a part of that project. So, it is going to be impactful for the neighborhood. So I do think that's the difference in we're not just buying property to buy it. We're buying it or the perception would be that would be buying it to help these folks sell their homes in the interim, because they're going to have a difficult time selling their property within the next year.
Well, my objection is you don't know that roundabout proposal at 15th Street and 6th Avenue is still, I think, a very dangerous one, since it leads to 4 different schools, and that's the major route that the kids go, and you know as well as I do they're going to be on their Game Boys or whatever they're called now, and their phones and all, and they're not going to watch where they're going, and we're going to have some serious accidents there. And it's not a place to put a roundabout. And if that's the case, then shoot, sell the house that's on the corner.
Well, that's the council's.
I'm getting a lot of static from people who are saying there's just too many changes. Leave the town the way it was. And that is Old Town, and those are railroad houses. Trust me on that.
Okay. Any other discussion on this?
Plan on going in to ask for private session on the...
No, sir.
Are you guys discussing this?
Yes.
Okay. Any
What-
other
what
thoughts
else would
you would
we
like to
discuss?
share on that?
No,
No?
I have no other.
Okay. Hearing none, this is a motion directing staff to proceed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
One.
And the historical folks will look in. We asked that Tuesday night too, so they are going to look into the historical significance of any of those properties.
Yep, we will, definitely.
Your Honor, I have a resolution number 25620 setting a public hearing for October 20th, 2016 regarding the Central Corridor Interim Development Overlay District.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Yes.
If I can just provide a brief update. On Tuesday, I presented the ordinance and concept. I would ask that, and I was hoping to be able to provide additional information to the council this evening. I do have a draft. I met with staff at 3 o'clock today to talk through the draft. I guess I would ask the council to approve of setting the date for the hearing for the 20th, and then I would present that ordinance at the work session. And if there's any questions or comments or we're going in the wrong direction, the hearing could be held, it could be tabled, it could be opened and closed with no additional action. But I would like the opportunity to get the public hearing set, just because we'd like to provide some oversight in the Central Corridor area in case projects start to come to light during the planning process and there's limited review ability by the council or planning commission at this time. So I guess I would ask that you would proceed with setting the date for the hearing and let me present it on Tuesday and go from there. So.
Okay. The earlier we can get that to look
Correct.
at it.
And I'll email you my draft so you can get a good idea about it, so that you at least have a copy if someone asks.
Right.
Yep, absolutely. I appreciate that.
Okay, this is resolution 25620. Any other comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Mary Lou, I believe you have the...
I have the, yes. All right. Your Honor, I move to approve Resolution 25621, approving contract for environmental services related to the Central Corridor project with Stanley Consultants in an amount not to exceed $6,800.
Second?
Moved and seconded. You want to give a brief discussion?
Sure. This would provide the Phase 1 documentation related to all the rest of the acquisitions that we need within the corridor project.
So these are the little sliver?
A lot of them are the little slivers. Some of them are areas where we've done Phase 1s in this area, but it's been about 6-8 years ago, so they need to be updated in order to protect us after if we purchase the properties and there wasn't an updated Phase 1 and something is found, then we could be on the hook for any cleanup. So we need to make sure that we're not in that capacity. The Phase 1s would be complete, and if there's any question or need for further documentation, I would need to come back to the council for further testing by means of a Phase 2. I honestly don't anticipate that. I don't like to say that, but I don't anticipate there being any additional work to be done. There may be on one site, but I'm hoping that there's not. So, but this is required for acquisitions.
So if we don't do this, will it be cones?
We're open for litigation.
There'll be orange cones there forever? Any other discussion then on 25621? Hearing any, all those in favor of Resolution 25621 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Edsel.
Okay. Resolution number 25622, approving pay for performance for city manager.
Second?
Discussion.
I would, the only discussion I have, Your Honor, is that I would like to have us have the further opportunity to discuss and return to private session, go ahead and vote on this on the 20th. And Mr. Hoskins could direct that that is a personnel matter. The 18th is the date I was trying to think of.
Okay. Any other comments? I know.
The reason I'm doing that is that we're working diligently, and what we call this is, a kind of an accurate description when we talk about pay for performance. And as you all know, I'm greatly in favor of pay for performance. And I think at that meeting we may have an opportunity to set up some things for all of our department heads as they achieve the goals set forth in them, that we can in fact pay for performance. So I'd like to have us have an opportunity to further discuss that, which we can't do in this body. And because it is a personnel matter, we certainly can go to private session, I believe, and discuss it on the 18th.
Well, Your Honor, then I move to table this resolution until there is a full complement of council to vote on it.
Everyone think on that?
No, nobody wants a second. Oh, okay.
The only thing I would say to that is that the full council voted on it at closed session, and we probably have a right to vote on it even with a limited number. But it's amendable.
Well, from what I understood from discussion, that the manager is the only one that isn't set up for pay for performance. Everyone else.
You need to refine them.
Yeah, everyone else has that with the city manager. So, okay, not hearing a second on Mary Lou's, then Resolution 25622. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
No.
One nay. So, Mr. Brandt didn't make it, so,
Your Honor, I have it with certainty that Councilman Brandt will not be in attendance this
Okay.
evening.
all right. So I guess on the ones,
Those are still on the agenda for this evening, so I think we had reordered it starting from number 6 forward. You can act on number 6 because that's simply a receive and file, but then you'd want to table 7, 8, and 9 till the next
Okay.
meeting.
well, let's go ahead and do 6 then. Do you want to read that one, Mary Lou? That one had your initials, Bryant.
Find it again.
And then, Mr. Draper, if you would read the,
Yes,
wait till
motion
she
receive and file.
Wait till she reads this, and then we'll read,
Just
I want
found
the
it.
one to table the rest, 7 through 9, if you would do that one.
Okay, this is a motion to receive and file a request from Hall and Hall Engineering on behalf of Scenic Development LLC to waive the third reading of ordinance related to the Scenic Development Project.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Discussion on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye, because oh, this is just the receive and file.
Receive and file.
Aye.
Okay, now, Mr. Draper, if you would read 7, 8, and 9 to table them.
Those aren't mine, sir.
Okay,
Kim has 7.
okay.
You want me to include all of them?
No, we're gonna table,
Oh,
we're
okay.
gonna table them
One
to a
at a time?
future.
You can move to table resolutions 25-617 through 25-619 for consideration at the next council meeting in one motion.
Okay.
Okay,
do that. I move to table resolution number 25617 through 25619 until the next council session.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, no, did someone second it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, and then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. All those opposed? All right, sorry about that. So, I think that brings us to council discussion time. So, by tradition, I will start on the right.
Good call.
The only thing I'd like to honor, we lost a citizen this week, Mr. Blackford, who was killed in an automobile accident with a train, and young, important farmer, 44 years old, and it's a major loss to our community. What I would like to mention is, and something that Don's going to put Don to work a little bit, we had our county supervisor come to our meeting Tuesday evening talking about their recently passed minimum wage. And the questions I have is, Don, does the county have the authority over our home rule to do that? Does it affect us, or does our home rule protect us? What can the county do and what can't they do that we have to abide by?
Well, there's no court ruling on that at this point. I would expect their ordinance and ordinances in other counties probably will produce some litigation at some point in time, which might answer your question. But my reading of the statute is that they don't have the authority to enact that type of an ordinance, nor do we.
Right. You know, to me, it's a supply and demand thing as a former business owner, or a state's responsibility. And I think that, I know the chamber has polled our business community along with Medco, and our people are in questioning, and you have the problem of our neighboring city, suburb to the west, owning a Burger King there and one here, and who's going to get, the pay discrepancy enters in. And I understand all of that. But whether or not the county, the thought occurred to me, I couldn't understand how the county could tell us what we were and weren't going to do. Nor, if we just pass that, it certainly needs, living in a condo, I know what rules are without any pages of what happens if you violate those rules. If we were to pass, say, the $8 section of that, and had a business person say, hey, go to hell, I'm not going to pay my people $8, what happens then? You know, I mean, we don't need ordinances and rules where we don't have any enforcement. And I don't know that the county has any enforcement in theirs. So I think when that comes forth, and I know that Lon has told me that at some point we need to do something with it. We need to do a lot of exploring before we just move forward and pass that. And I would be interested in knowing what control the county holds over 52302. And to me, that would be interesting. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay. Kim?
I would like to ask if we could have on the next agenda a resolution about naming the PD.
About what?
Naming the PD.
Oh, yes. What, is there anything, nothing has been done on that so far, has it?
We've had some conversations about it, including with the person who would be the namesake.
Okay. So is that a possibility of getting it on the?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Anything?
After hearing everything that Mr. Draper has to say this evening, I've determined it's the chair down there that causes all the excitement. I just wanted to bring forward, I've had a lot of conversations, telephone calls, and I'm shocked and excited to hear the number of people that listen to our recording on the internet. And so for the benefit of those people, I do want to bring forward just some clarification. I'm going to read again, too, what the ballot language will say in reference to the ward voting coming up in November. So just for clarity here, a yes vote will change the city charter so only residents of a ward can vote for the person representing that ward on the council. Those who vote no are choosing to retain the wording in the current charter under which the voters from Marion can elect the candidates from other wards. This is critical that there is nothing but certainty with the language on this. There's a lot of confusion, and you certainly can read that several times and convince yourself that it's different language each time. So I wanted, for the benefits of those that are listening to this recording, to once again, please read that very carefully. Yes is for a change, and no for an as is. That's all I have.
That's it. I have 3 items. 2 are
Okay.
very quick. There are 2 rusty trailers on the corner of James Drive and 14th Street on the northeast corner. And apparently, according to the neighbors, they've been there for years, and they're just rusty trailers. No, they're on, but it's not a hard surface driveway. Okay? Secondly, the individual who designed this building and pulled out before the whole project was finished, Steve Emerson, I've had some nasty words about because I felt that he should have finished the project. But after his donation of property to house the animals, animals, I have to take back some of my bad words. And lastly, and I find this very interesting because it's another person I've never been too fond of.
I knew I'd get here sooner or later. But
Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys, told players, coaches, and staff, quote, "You are simply paid performers on a stage, and that field is my stage. You will stand with your hand over your heart with respect for our country's national anthem is being played, or you will no longer be a Dallas Cowboy, a coach for them, Cowboys, or have any association with the Cowboys. I will immediately fire you no matter who you are." And I think that's a wonderful attitude, and I may have to change my opinion of him also.
Start rooting for the Cowboys?
Yeah, I could do
Wow.
that. Hey, well, that's another story.
Any Yes, Lon.
I don't know if you had any items, but I had one that I needed to brief the council on before everybody left, so.
Okay, go ahead.
I just want to let the council know that Councilman Sternad brought up the ballot language issue. After signs started appearing in the community, we started getting calls from people wondering whether or not the city of Marion was behind those or whether or not we were endorsing it. Additionally, because those signs are using our language, there's actually gotten around to the point where people have been calling the library asking if they can pick up signs there. We did ask our copyright and trademark attorney to look into that issue, and in their opinion, in the firm's opinion, what is being done is constituting trademark infringement, meaning that that's an illegal use of a variant of the city's reach higher trademarked phrase, and we are sending out a cease and desist letter. The group is not registered with the state, so we don't have exact contact information, so it's being sent to an individual who, according to some information we were provided, has some kind of affiliation with it, at least has enough knowledge to tell people where to get signs. If that's not the right individual, we'll rely on them to tell us who we need to contact about it, but we're requesting not that they remove the signs because they have the ability to do that, but that they cover up that phrase. The problem is that it is illegal for the city to take a position to tell people how to vote on any ballot issues before the public, and if there's confusion out there, they're putting us in a position where it looks like we're violating the state's campaign finance law. And so I just want to let the council know that letter is going out. You may hear something about it, and just kind of as an editorial comment, I do find it curious that a lot of the folks that were engaging in that are the ones that often accuse the city of underhanded or illegal behavior, and in fact, in this case, are acting illegally.
Thank you. Well, a couple of things I wanted to bring up is my favorite time of year is occurring Friday night, and that is the chocolate walk. As you can tell, I walk the walk and talk the talk. So it's, I think it starts at 8 o'clock or so, something like that, and it's all the uptown businesses. If you're not into chocolate, you can come hear Mr. McLaughlin sing and play out at the coffee house at Lau Park Friday night. And so they have Wits End treats and just killer brownies. I mean, they're really good. So a couple of things going on. And then I know the mayor always has a reaching higher section of his where he likes to pinpoint one of the departments. And, I think, with all the things that you saw tonight that the planning department is doing, and especially finally getting the Central Corridor Plan Development on the table, I send my Reaching Higher award to the planning department tonight. I appreciate all that you guys do. And with that, any others? We are adjourned.
And just a reminder, Joe, the open house to meet the candidates for police chief is tomorrow night from 5:30 to 6:30 over at the library.
Thank you. I meant to put that down. So 5:30.